Okay, let's just keep right on going with F. And um, I should point out that when you're doing these analyses, this happens a lot where you do analysis, you might go all the way in F, and then you say, okay, wait, I missed the train derailed at some point, and then you walk backwards and find where the modulation actually happened. That's true in pivot chords, especially, where you might say, okay, we're analyzing. Well, here's a better example. We're analyzing in D, blah, 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 and then weird stuff is in D here. And so you step backwards and say, oh, this was a pivot chord and now we're in A. So it's very common for you to go too far in one key and then start walking backwards to find it. So let's just do that. What is this chord in F? Let's figure out what it is. So we have an A, an E, another E, and a C sharp. So A, C sharp, E. So we have an A major chord. That would be, this is going to be out of key. So let's put it in parentheses. This is going to be a major 3 chord. Okay? Now 3 in F, 3 in a major key is minor, right? But this is a major chord. That C sharp got it major. So weird. Let's do one more chord. So we have F, A, E, D. So if we put that into a triad, we'd have D, F, A. Don't know quite what to do with that E. We might have to call that D, or that E, a passing or a suspension from this E, because then it resolves down to a D here. So that's probably a suspension. So let's call this DFA. So it's a D minor, which would be in the key of F, 6. And that actually is in key. Okay, so that's 6. That's okay. Not too weird. What about here? Same thing. Different inversion, but still a 6. We get here, we have D, A, E, D. We have that E again on a suspension again. Well, this time it's not a suspension. But probably a passing tone. So let's call this still D. And here A, C sharp, E, A. So that is this major 3 again. And then we have 6 again. D. Okay, so what went wrong here? There's 2 things we can tell that are wrong down here. One is that we have these 2 chords that are out of key. Another is that we have all of these 6s and we end on a 6, and that 6 does not feel like a 6. That 6 feels like a tonic right there, right? Let's hear it. Right? That is tonic. So at some point, we shifted keys. So what is this 6? This is a D. Okay, so let's figure out where we switch to D, and it's probably right here. Right where we started seeing that those C sharps pop up. So what is this chord in the key of D? It is 5. So now, if we called this D, we'd have 5. We'd have 1. Here we'd have 1 or 1/6. Here, if we really dug down to it, what we could have here is a cadential 6/4. So we'd have a 5, 6, 4, 5, 3, cadential 6, 4 right there to a 1. Do we need to review cadential 6/4s? I think we just talked about them. But so basically, because we have a 5 in the bass, we can call this a type of 5 chord, even though it's a 1 chord, but it's going to kind of function like a 5 chord that resolves as a 6/4 to a 5/3. So the notes from the tonic chord resolve down to the actual 5 chord, which is the 5/5/3, and then resolve to a 1. That's our cadential 6/4. We talked about it a couple classes ago. So, is there a pivot chord? No, there's not. We just jump right into it, right? So if we were analyzing this, we don't really even need to use the multiple lanes of analysis. We could just do this. We could just get rid of all of this and say, you know what? I'm just going to cheat that over a little bit. You can just do it all in one line if you want, because it's a direct modulation. There's no overlap. There doesn't need to be a different line for it. It's a little bit harder to read this way, but this is how we like to do it. So we're in F, blah, blah, blah. We're analyzing. So 6, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 5, 1. And now we're in D, 5, 1, 1, 6, 5, 6, 4, 5, 3, 1. So we are in 1 here. So that's how we like to analyze these. This is an abrupt modulation. There's no pivot. We just go right in. We just say, and I should point out, this is the end of a phrase. There should be a fermata here, but I can't actually find a fermata in MuseScore at the moment. So I'll put a breath mark. Okay. So this is the end of a phrase. There's a fermata here. Okay. That really tells us that this is starting up in a new key, right? So it's a phrase modulation if you want. It's a direct modulation if you want. It's an abrupt modulation. It is all of those things. Let's hear it one more time, and keep your eye on the analysis. All right, so there you go. Direct modulation in Bach.